Good morning, my summer chapel friends. It's Reverend Rebecca Kirkpatrick from St. Andrew's Episcopal Church in the Green Lake neighborhood of Seattle. I'm so glad you were able to join us this morning. Life has been kind of tough right now. I just heard that there's an announcement that the Seattle Public Schools and other schools in our state, well, they're going to stay closed for safety, at least through the end of the year. And for some of us, that's kind of tough news, isn't it? We were looking forward to, after the summer, getting back to our classrooms and seeing our teachers and meeting old friends and making new friends and just getting back into a new normal. But unfortunately, that's not what's going to happen for some of us. And so today's story is all about a little girl who's living through the same things you are. Her name is Charlie, and she hears that her school is going to stay closed. And so we follow her on her journey of staying home and staying safe through this time, and all of the lessons that she learns of being with her family and her siblings, and taking time to find a new normal. And most of all, finding out that she's not alone, that you're not alone, that I'm not alone, that none of us are alone. At the end of the book, it asks us and invites us if we want to write our own journal entries so that we can remember these times. Because our children and grandchildren, well, they probably won't know what it's like to live through these times. And so writing down our story can really help us not only to share and remember our memories, but also help us to get through these times. So you're invited to write in a journal or a blank piece of paper how you feel right now. Remember that you are not alone, that we're all in this together, that your friends are still your friends, even if you only see them on the video or talk to them on phone or get to be with them 6 feet apart. Remember that our teachers are thinking about us and will be there for us all year long, and that our family is always with us, and most importantly, God is always there for us. So let's get started and let's read our book for today. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and a wonderful week out in this glorious summer. You're Not Alone, a story and pictures by Heidi B. Nelson. Hi, I'm Charlie. I love to play with friends and go to school. Most of all, I love my teacher. I also love spring break. It means that I get to stay up late, sleep in late, and play with my big sister and brothers. But this spring break, something was different. My mom and dad told us that there was a sickness going around. They said that we would need to wait an extra week before we could go back to school because of it. That was okay. I knew another week of vacation might be fun. There were a few things I learned during that time. Things like how to cover a cough, wash my hands often, and why staying home was so important if we wanted to help stop the spread of germs. As the week came to an end, I got some more news. The sickness isn't going away yet, so it will be a few more weeks before we can go back to school and see your friends. This made me a little sad. My mom and my dad told me that it's okay to be a little sad. They said that this was a big change for them too. Sometimes changes can mean a lot of new feelings. Am I the only one who doesn't get to see my friends? I asked. My mom said, no, it's happening all over the world. You are not alone. I thought about how I was feeling. Then I thought about how my friends might be feeling the same way. So I got to work. I filled boxes with goodies and notes that I made all by myself. Then Mom and Dad helped me mail them to my friends. We got creative and found ways to still play with friends, even though we weren't in the same place. I loved playing drawing games. During our extra time home, I remembered how much fun I could have playing with my siblings. We built forts and played with a lot of old toys that we had forgotten about. I even learned how to ride a bike. I couldn't wait to go back to school to tell my teacher and friends all that I had been doing. But one last change came. School is canceled for the rest of the year, Mom said. You won't be going back. Your teachers are sending some information to help you finish your school year from home. I felt so proud of myself for staying strong through all of these big changes, but this time I couldn't. I started to cry. My parents told me, sometimes we feel sad also, and we understand why this change is hard. They sat with me and gave me a big hug. It's important to remember that people all over the world are missing their friends and families too. Even though we can't see them, we are all in this together. When homeschooling started, I eventually got to see my teacher and friends on my computer. This made me really happy. I continued to learn new things each day. Like, did you know that the sun has something called vitamin D? Going out in the sun for a little bit each day is really good for you. It was really fun to stay busy and play a lot, but it was also good to have some quiet time too. It definitely takes some practice getting used to sitting still. During quiet time, I would draw pictures or read a book. There were many things around the house that I learned I could do to help my parents as well. When my little brothers got sick, I learned even more how important it was to pray for all the people around the world that were dealing with sickness. I also prayed for all the doctors, nurses, and workers that didn't get to be home with their families every day because they were busy helping so many other people. There were times when I forgot why I couldn't go to the store with my parents or have my friends over to play. But I got a lot of reminders, especially when we would go for a car ride and see all of the closed stores and empty parking lots. I soon started to feel a new kind of normal, a slower, quieter kind of normal. My parents told me that one day my own kids might ask me if I remember what this time was like, so I started a special journal to write out my thoughts and tell my story. When the time to stay home was finally over, things didn't exactly go back to normal. Some things had to change. I found that people were more kind and caring, that hugs were even more sweet, and everyone seemed a little bit more happy and thankful for all of those little things. As it turned out, I had also changed. My heart grew, my patience grew, and my thankfulness grew. I was glad I did my part by staying home. I was especially glad to know that we were all in this together. Just like Charlie's parents said in the story, there may be one day when you are asked to talk about what you remember most from this time. So many new words were introduced to us. Words like coronavirus, COVID-19, social distancing, and quarantine. You can ask your parents to help explain these or any other words that you may have heard. Then take out some paper and write your own story. You can include anything that you want to remember about your own experience. Fun times at home, things you've learned, even the sad or hard times. Don't forget to add drawings or even pictures in the boxes on the writing pages. Have fun and remember, you're not alone.